Hey guys, it's Brighton. So I wanted to tell you guys our debt-free story. Mike and I just started teaching Dave Ramsey's FPU class for the first time, and we just finished week 2 of teaching it. And it's really kind of fun being on this side of it and watching people get excited about their journey to get debt-free and how intense they can be and how excited they can be in the beginning of it. And it made me think of our debt-free journey, so I wanted to share it with you guys. So Mike and I got married in 2008, and we got married in August of 2008, and the spring before that, let's see, it was probably like January, I guess that's the winter before that, like January or February, we started talking about getting engaged. So his parents immediately were like, no way, you're way too young. I was 19, Mike was 20, but we were really serious, and we'd been dating for 2 years, and I was like, it's time to, you know, move to the next step. And so his parents said, if you're really gonna do this, our only requirement for you to get engaged is to take FPU, to both start out on the same page financially. And so we did. They gifted us the kit, and we took a class in our town that we were in. We were in Pocatello, Idaho, going to school at the time. And so we took a class there, and it was life-changing. It was amazing. We got so excited about money, and I mean, it really just like, it changed everything in our relationship. Neither of us had really been on our own too much. Mike's parents were paying for all of his expenses while he was going to school. It was such a sweet gift of them. And I had been on my own. I had just graduated school the year before, so I had been on my own for like 9 months. And I really had no idea how to handle money, and I was really irresponsible with it. Luckily, we didn't have any like consumer debt at the time. Mike didn't have any student loans either because his parents had been paying for everything, and I didn't have any student loans because I had been paying for my school in cash as well. So we got this information at the perfect time, like before we got into any trouble. It was such a blessing. So we took it, and we were excited, and we were like, well, we're poor college kids living on nothing. We don't even have extra money. We're already living on rice and beans. So we just made it through college. Eventually, Mike's parents, since we got married, they said, you know, you're kind of on your own now because you're married. But we were so grateful for their blessing and for their help up until that point. So we were more than happy to take over paying for his school, and we were of course supporting ourselves at that point. So we did have to take out student loans, and by the end of him graduating, I worked through part of his school and he worked through all of his school. And then by the end of him graduating, he had about $15,000 in student loans. And then we also, let's see, I think that's all the debt that we had. Yeah, that's all the debt that we had as soon as he was out of school. A little while later, we had another hospital bill that was like $5,000 from Maylee. The poor little girl is always so sick. So we did end up having a little bit more later on. But we got out of school, and Mike got a job, and we bought a house, which was dumb because we bought a house before we had a job. And we bought a house with no money, and it was a bad idea. But we thought that we were being smart because we bought a house on a 15-year mortgage, which it did bless us. Eventually, we sold it and made close to $30,000 profit on it. So that was a blessing. But besides the point, over the next 2 years, almost 2 years, from the time that he graduated until when we paid off our debt, we just dumped everything that we could. We weren't making a lot of money. We were making maybe $45,000 to $50,000 a year gross, not take home, that's gross. But we were really diligent, and we really lived on as close to nothing as we could, and we were really good about budgeting, and we really just applied Dave's principles, and it changed our lives. So we paid off all of our debt, and there were 100 stumbling blocks along the way. There was times when Maylee had oral surgery, and that was like $2,000, which hurt us, and they said we had to pay for it in cash before she could get it done, so that hurt. And we had a hospital stay for Maylee, and we had a hospital stay for Mike. It was just like, it seems like when you're really intense, there are so many bumps along the way. We had a lot of car problems, and we had 2 beaters, paid off beaters, so it was really tempting to be like, I am sick of fixing these cars, let's just go buy new ones. But we didn't, and we stuck with it, and we got out of debt in April of, let's see, 2000, think that was 2013. That was a year ago. Yeah, April of 2013 we got out of debt, and then our kids, this is how it happens, you guys. We got out of debt in April, and in May our kids spent 2 weeks in the hospital, and we had another $5,000 hospital bill, so that sucked. But June 1st we sold our house, and like I said, made almost $30,000 profit. Then of course we had to pay the realtor, so it was more like $25,000 that we got to take home. So we paid off our hospital bill, we bought a new car, and we put $10,000 into our savings account, into our emergency fund. And that allowed us to, Mike quit his job, which is crazy. And we traveled in a fifth wheel for 7 months. And it was the best time of my life. I've never felt so close to my family. It was wonderful. But in the meantime, we did end up blowing through our emergency fund, which, hindsight, I would never advise anybody to do that, but I'm so grateful for the memories and for the closeness that I got to feel with Mike and with my kids. It was life-changing. And then we ended up here in Texas, and we ended up getting a job that pays really well, and so we've been able to, we're building back up our emergency fund, and we are saving up probably next fall, a year from now, we're planning on buying a house. So we are saving up a down payment on a house. We're hoping to have 20% by then. So yeah, there have been bumps along the way, you know, bump after bump after bump, but we are so determined to win with money that it's like, it doesn't even bug us. And it's so awesome feeling like you totally, like, I have no fears of money because I know that we're smart with it. And Mike, oh my heavens, I have to tell you guys this. So August, we went home to Idaho for 2 weeks. I went home for 2 weeks. Mike went home for 1 week. And while we were home, the week that he was home, his job called him and said, our company just went under, so sorry. Basically, you don't have a job when you get home, and all of your PTO that you're taking out right now for your vacation, we can't pay you. So sorry. And even when we got back from Idaho, we went and picked up, we had 2 paychecks that they still owed us, so we got one of the paychecks and we took it to the bank for a week, and every day they told us there wasn't enough funds in the account, and finally after a week there was funds in the account, and we quickly cashed that check. And then a week later or so, we got our second check from them, our very last check from them, and the same thing. We went into the bank and it kept, you know, we couldn't get it, we couldn't cash it because there wasn't enough funds in the account. So there was a month or more of time when we weren't getting a paycheck, and I was so grateful that we were smart with our money, that we have food here at the house. We always have a good food storage. It's something that my church leaders have encouraged us to do, is to have a food storage and you know, just have a little bit of food set aside in case there's an emergency, and I was so grateful for that. And then also we had our emergency fund, which paid all of our bills that had to be paid right away, like our rent and things where they would shut it off and we wouldn't survive without them. So that was such a big blessing, and again, I thanked my lucky stars that we had knowledge underneath our belts to be able to handle those bumps along the way. So now we're luckily getting paychecks again, and things are a little less stressful. They weren't really that stressful, just because I knew that we were going to be okay, because I knew how to handle money, and I knew that we had emergency funds set aside, and yeah, it was a big blessing. So yeah, now we're just on our long, it seems like it's going to take forever to get our 3 to 6 month emergency fund done and our down payment on a house done, but it's exciting. It's exciting seeing our savings account grow, and it's exciting to now be helping other people and seeing them catch that fire and start their debt-free journey. So yeah, that's my debt-free journey. I'd love to hear your guys's. If you guys are working towards getting out of debt, or if you are out of debt, I would love to hear your story if you want to share it with me down below. But I thought I'd share that with you guys. I hope that it inspires you to make a budget and be a little frugal with your money. So that's all from me today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!